Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Season 4 of The Wire. So Season 4 introduces Baltimore's school system and a few middle school students along with it, while also continuing the storylines involving the Barksdale organization, or what's left of it, the Stanfield organization, the Baltimore City Police, and the Baltimore politicians. Make sure you're all caught up on the first 3 seasons of The Wire because this video will contain spoilers. So Season 4 is often regarded by many to be not only the best season in the entire show, but also one of the best seasons in TV history. So much so that even my favorite author, Stephen King, has praised it. And while it may not be my absolute favorite season of the show, I still think it is without a doubt exceptional television. So let's get into it. So firstly, when it comes to the Baltimore police, there's a lot of shifting in personnel this season. McNulty is now a patrolman and is also currently living with Beatrice and her 2 children. Cedric has now been promoted to the city's major, and his relationship with Rhonda is going great. This is when Herc and Carver have to go their separate ways because Carver has been promoted to sergeant while Herc has a new job working as a security guard for Clarence Royce, the mayor of Baltimore. Kima and Lester have been transferred to the homicide unit. And, overall it was interesting to see where things go from there for each and every one of them. Now, when it comes to the Barksdale organization, it practically doesn't exist by this point. I mean, Bodie and Poot are pretty much the only 2 members left standing. They have their own corner of Baltimore where they distribute their product, and they just have to work with that for the time being. Though Bodie does act as an occasional CI for McNulty and even Carver, and eventually he's forced into an ultimatum of sorts. Bubbles now lives in a garage with a teenage boy by the name of Sherrod. He tries to get Sherrod to go back to school because he dropped out, and he also has to contend with another homeless addict who constantly tries to beat him up and rob him. Omar is kind of dissatisfied with how easy work is, and he's afraid that committing petty thefts here and there will make him soft. So he makes it his top priority to rob a local convenience store that serves as a front for Marlo Stanfield's operations. Cutty's boxing gym is thriving, and he even takes on the middle school students who are mentioned at the beginning of the video and who I'll get to in a bit. Colvin, aka Bunny, is now retired from the police force and currently works as a field researcher, and this in itself leads to him conducting field research at the school and meeting some of the students. Meanwhile, the Stanfield organization is at its best in the season. Marlo Stanfield has taken over virtually every single corner of Baltimore. And some of his associates were introduced in Season 3, but they have some more prominent roles in Season 4, such as Chris Partlow, Marlo's head enforcer, and Felicia Pearson, aka Snoop. Snoop is often described as being a semi-fictional character, considering her actress's real name is Felicia Pearson, and she didn't really have to act. It's as if she was just herself on set, and it kind of shows. And to quote Stephen King again, he's actually gone on to describe her as perhaps one of the most terrifying female villains in any TV series. I concur, Steve. Meanwhile, in politics, Tommy Carcetti is running for mayor, and he's up against Clarence Royce, the current mayor. If you're someone who's into politics and you like following national elections, whether presidential, mayoral, or whatever, this storyline is for you. And now, to save the best for last, the school. There are 4 students in particular to keep track of when watching Season 4, as not only are they important characters, but they are easily among the best characters in the entire show. Firstly, you have Duquan, aka Dookie. Dookie is an easy target for bullying due to his lack of personal hygiene, his dirty clothes, and just his very quiet, reserved nature. He has a difficult home life because he practically lives in poverty, even though he and his family have got a place. His parents are either drug addicts or alcoholics. Then you have Randy Wagstaff, an enterprising student who is dependent on social services and lives with his foster mother, Miss Anne, who may be strict, but she intends to inject some discipline into his life. Then you have Michael Lee, who's very soft-spoken and a lot more composed compared to his friends. He's very protective of his younger half-brother Bug, to whom he's pretty much a parent, and especially Dookie, considering Dookie's an easy target for bullying. Then of course we have Namond Bryce. When it comes to school, Namond is just kind of there, to be there. He doesn't really care about the work and all that kind of stuff, especially since when not in school, he works for Bodhi on the streets. Though he's actually better off than most of the other students, considering the amount of financial support he gets from his father, who I won't name because that's spoiler territory. And I was pleasantly surprised with how everything turned out for him at the end of the season. And last but not least, I decided to save the standout character of the season for last. I'm talking about Prez. Yeah, Prez of all people. Can you imagine that? Basically, Season 4 took a character that wasn't all that interesting to begin with and kind of inept, and made him likable, made him interesting, to the point where he's now practically a fan favorite. It's like when The Walking Dead made everyone hate the character of Father Gabriel, who's played by Seth Gilliam, and then redeemed him in Season 6. Prez has left the force and is now a teacher at the very same school attended by the students I mentioned earlier. His bond with the students, as well as his overall learning experience in becoming a teacher, was all captivating to watch and ended up being one of the most iconic and most memorable storylines in the entire show. When it comes to the themes of the season, Season 4 tries to showcase the parallels between the education system and the criminal justice system. If there's no sense of order, there'll be chaos, and that can lead to punishments. And in my opinion, this season also explored the fact that there's a fundamental difference between the education system and learning. Because some people, including myself, tend to learn more outside of school than they do in school. And it really goes to show how flawed the education system is, a topic that is still an ongoing issue today. And all of this is why Season 4 has aged remarkably well. And the finale was pure perfection. It's a bit longer than most episodes of the show, but it tied up everything nicely and perfectly laid the groundwork for Season 5. Now, the only complaint I have with Season 4, and it's not entirely Season 4's fault, Season 4 isn't my absolute favorite season, mainly because by this point, Stringer's dead, D'Angelo's dead, Avon's in jail again, and we don't even get to see him at all in this season. McNulty's barely in it, and the Barksdale organization, as I've mentioned countless times already, it's practically non-existent here. And for me personally, the show was at its peak when it focused on the drug trade and the Barksdale organization and the police and everything in equal measure. That unfortunately isn't the case here. And again, the season itself isn't to blame for that, neither is David Simon, the show's creator. I mean, he and the writers definitely went with the best route possible as far as continuing the show beyond Season 3 is concerned. But again, it's because we've shifted the focus to a bunch of other things that the show is kind of past its peak. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Season 4 of The Wire. Next time, we're going to jump into the 5th and final season, Season 5. So thank you all for watching, guys. Please be sure to like the video, share it and subscribe, ring the bell. Take care, and I'll see you soon.